Listen up. Be you. You got this. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Keto, rock stars, stay strong. Be you. Bacon, beef, butter. Keto rock stars. Keto rock stars. Keto rock stars. Keto on, stay strong. Be you. Keto rock stars.
Stars, welcome to this edition of Sunday Night Live. And we have a special guest tonight, and I think you probably recognize her because this is her third time being on the channel. But we have Coach Angela Mullins. Thank you so much, Coach Angela, for joining me. And for those of you who don't know, Coach Angela is my PhD and kilts carnivore and coach classmate and sister. How you doing today, Coach Angela?
I'm a little tired, but that goes with the weekend. I was busy with the grandchildren at a farm yesterday, and we went on a hayride and just had a good old time.
That is awesome. There's nothing better than that, right?
Yep.
All right. So before we get into the topic, we're going to say hi to a few people. And Carrie was the first to comment. Thank you, Carrie. You've been a loyal supporter since my channel first started. And Jerry is the first to hit the like button. So thank you for that. We have Gary, and he says he's the fourth to like. Thank you, Gary. No slow for tuning in. Cynthia is here, and she says, drove out of a major storm. We'll be home in like 20 minutes. Well, drive safe, Cynthia, please. Juliet Edens, our other classmate, is here. Welcome, Juliet. Coach Juliet also took both the PhD and the Kilts coaching course. Another amazing classmate. And Juju or Julie or Gemmet, whatever you want to call her, is here. I call her Juju because I like that name. And Holly Springer's in the house. Welcome, Holly. Thank you so much for tuning in. My neighbor, Schmoovy. This is John, everybody. He lives in the same town as I do. Welcome, John. Thank you for tuning in. Brian Dish is in the house. Thank you, thank you. And Wendy, Feral Grandma, is here. Thank you for tuning in. And Carrie always gives us a joke. And for some reason, I can't see these. But, you see, it's being covered up for some reason. Maybe I can move this. Let me see if I can move this. Chat. Where do ice cream go for? Oh, here it is. Where do ice cream go for class? Sunday school. That is so funny. You always tell the best jokes, Carrie. Thank you. Sharon is in the house. Thank you, Sharon. Kelly, Mission Carnivore, long time no see. Thanks for tuning in, Kelly. Okay, I think that's everybody so far. And just so you all know, I pinned in the chat, I pinned the link to Coach Angela's channel. So please, if you're not subscribed, go out there and subscribe to her channel. Okay, so the topic tonight is Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. Did I say that right, Coach Angela?
What does I know?
What?
That's why I usually say it. Yes, why I usually
EDS.
say yes.
EDS. And Coach Angela, this is a topic that is near and dear to her heart because tell us why, Coach Angela. Tell us why this is so important to you.
Because I have what you call vascular EDS. I have 3 aneurysms because of it.
And
we'll get more about that.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. But Coach Angela has prepared a presentation. Are you ready to start into that? Do you want to just go into the meat and potatoes of that, Coach Angela?
Sure. Let's just go ahead and start on the presentation. We'll get through that, and people will probably have some questions about what's what at the end and the different terms. And I actually did look up some of the terms myself because I wasn't sure. So let's go to the next slide because there are 13 distinct types
And let me get this comment off the screen here. Okay. Oh, let me get this off the screen too. Hold on. Let me hide this so we can see the full thing. Okay. So, and if it really quickly, if you have a question, please type QQQ in the questions so that I can see that above the chat. Okay. Continue on, Coach Angela.
Okay, the 13 types of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, which I'll say EDS from now on, isn't just one condition. It's a group of 13 distinct connective tissue disorders. They all share issues with collagen, but each type has its own pattern of symptoms and risk. There's classical EDS, involves skin fragility and widening scars. Classical-like EDS looks similar but without the atrophic scarring. Cardiac valvular EDS affects the heart valves, especially the aortic valve. Vascular EDS is the type that affects arteries and organs, makes tissues more fragile. Hypermobile EDS is the most common and is known for joint hypermobility and chronic pain. This one I'm going to say AEDS because
Yes.
we're going to try that one. Causes extreme hypermobility and congenital hip dislocations. Dermatosporosis EDS leads to very fragile sagging skin. Kyphoscoliotic EDS causes severe scoliosis from birth and low muscle tone. Brittle cornea syndrome affects the eyes, especially the corneas. I'm not going to maybe spondylo. I'm not going to try.
Yes, spondylolysis maybe.
It involves short stature and bone abnormalities. Musculocontractural EDS is a rare type of EDS that causes tight joints and muscles from birth, called contractures, which limit how far the joints can move. It also includes certain facial features such as small mouth, soft or stretchy skin, and distinctive eye or nose shape. Myopathic EDS involves muscle weakness and contractures. Periodontal EDS causes severe gum disease and early tooth loss.
Wow.
So those are the 13 types. There was one place that listed actually 12 and 13 said other. So I wasn't sure whose list to use, but I used this one that had 13 distinctive types. So, if we go to the next slide, what, Amy?
I was just going to say, when I researched it, I found 13 different types too.
Right. So if we go to the next slide,
genetics, what we know. Yep.
Yes. The genetics is one of the most important things to understand is that 12 of the 13 EDS types have a known genetic mutation. These mutations affect collagen or collagen-related proteins, which explains why symptoms show up in skin, joints, blood vessels, and organs. The one exception is hypermobile EDS or HEDS. Right now, there is no identified genetic marker for HEDS, even though researchers strongly believe it has a genetic cause. Because of that, HEDS is diagnosed based on clinical criteria, symptoms, physical findings, and medical history rather than a genetic test. This difference is a big reason why diagnosis can be confusing or delayed. So if we go to the next slide. Common symptoms, which is across all EDS types, not just for one type. Even though each type of EDS is different, many symptoms overlap. Joint hypermobility is one of the most common features. People may experience frequent sprains, dislocations of joints that feel unstable. Chronic pain is another symptom, and it can be musculoskeletal, nerve-related, or widespread. Skin differences are also common. Soft, stretchy, or fragile skin and easy bruising. Fatigue is extremely common and can be severe. Many people experience autonomic symptoms like dizziness, fainting, or POTS-like episodes. Gastrointestinal issues are also widely reported. Things like slow motility, bloating, or reflux, poor wound healing, and widened scars can occur in several types. And in some types, especially vascular EDS, there can be organ or blood vessel fragility. These shared symptoms are why many people with EDS have similar day-to-day challenges, even if their special subtype is different.
Very interesting. And so, next slide, why understanding the types matter. Tell us about that.
I got some other notes here. I think it kind of goes along with the previous, I think.
Okay.
It says most common symptoms is fast heart rate when standing, lightheadedness or dizziness, feeling faint or actually fainting, fatigue that feels overwhelming, brain fog, shakiness or tremors, nausea, headaches, exercise intolerance, cold or discolored hands and feet, shortness of breath, chest discomfort or palpitations. So it's a lot of other symptoms too, besides what I probably had listed on the slide. And if we go to the next slide, why understanding the types matters. Understanding the different types of EDS isn't just academic, it has real-world implications. Different types come with different risks. Some types mainly affect skin and joints, while others affect organs, eyes, or blood vessels. Early recognition can help prevent complications and guide proper monitoring, and also helps patients get the right specialists involved, whether that's cardiology, genetics, orthopedics, or physical therapy. And for types like vascular EDS, understanding the risks can literally save lives. This is why awareness and education are so important. And then we can either take questions or we can go to the last slide where I talk about me.
I haven't seen any questions regarding the presentation yet. So let's talk about you.
Okay. My personal story is, as I said, I have the vascular EDS. So this is where I want to share a little of my own experience. I live with vascular EDS, which is one of the rarest and most serious types. For me, this has included dealing with aneurysms and the uncertainty that comes with fragile blood vessels. My journey has involved learning how to advocate for myself, how to navigate the medical system, and how to balance awareness with living my life to the fullest. I'm sharing my story because awareness matters. The more people understand EDS, especially the vascular type, the more likely it is that others will get diagnosed earlier, monitored properly, and supporting in their daily lives. I want to tell you how I was diagnosed with my aneurysms, especially the first one. After my husband died, it was in 2018, I was experiencing on and off chest pains. The pain was like a muscle being pulled or stretched in your chest. That's the best way I can describe it. I went to my primary physician. He could not order certain tests since he was not a cardiologist or vascular doctor, but he could order CAC tests. He explained to me that insurance would not cover it, but would not cost me but $100. It actually cost me $99. So since I do advocate for, I think it's cost me $99. And so since I do advocate for myself and double check things, I was checking their portal, for the test results. And I found a report. I read the report. A few days later, the nurse calls me from the doctor's office. She said, "We got your report. It was great. Your CAC score is 0. I said, "That's not all it said. It does say CAC equals 0. But then it says, however, there's a 43 millimeter ascending aortic aneurysm." The nurse just said, "I'll call you back." I mean, so I want to stress, when your doctor runs a report, go on their portal and read it yourself.
Mhm.
Do your own research. Don't expect the doctors to read the entire report. My report was 1 sentence long. 1 sentence. It said CAC equals 0. However, semicolon, and about the aneurysm. It was 1 sentence long, and they didn't read the entire sentence. It just blew my mind that they did not read the entire sentence. And how they found
That's
the
crazy.
other two, and how they found the other two this year, is I had insisted last year that they scan my head, because my grandfather at 49 years old died of a brain aneurysm. I said, I want to be sure it's not one up there. So this year, like I said, I asked them last year, but they did the scan this year, and they did scan my head, and they did find 2 aneurysms in my head. One of them pushes against my optical nerve. And what I thought was really weird was the doctor called me, and he says, if your eyesight changes, go to the emergency room right away. And I'm like, well, I knew that the one pushing on my optical nerve was on the left side. I said, my left eye? He said, either. And of course, when I went to the eye doctor, I asked him, I said, I need a optical anatomy lesson. And I asked her, why would it affect both eyes? But then I found out the optic nerves cross. So I guess, push on one side, it could affect the other.
Wow.
So that's where I am. So they, thankfully, the aortic aneurysm, which is right here, has not grown in like 3 or 4 years. So I'm thankful for that.
That's
the 2
good.
in my head are really small, so they're not really concerned about them right now, because they are small. As long as they don't grow, we're good. Because they said if they would try to fix them, it would be more risk than what the size of the aneurysms are right now. And then, of course, I just put some references down the bottom of where I found this information from, which is the Ehlers-Danlos Society page, and a couple other Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, and NIH website.
Okay, so I have a question for you. But before we get to that question, I want to say hi to a few people that joined. We have Christy from Meeting Wellness, Thomas, Target Prime Rib, welcome. Sean is in the house. Sean Bradley, Be Strong Like Grizzly. Carnivore Lance is here. Rick, Twinbrook Acres is here, and so is Karen. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you more than you all know. So you got the CAC scan. Before you got and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hide this on the stream so everybody can see you talking now. And that was a beautiful presentation. Thank you, Coach Angela. Very well put together. So you went and got your CAC scan. Before that, you had no idea that you had EDS, right?
Right.
So during this presentation, we found out that almost all of the EDS variations will show up on a genetic test, is how they, except for the hypermobility one.
Yes.
And I believe another friend of ours in the community has the hypermobility EDS. She couldn't be here tonight. And that is Evelyn.
And so does Amy Haas.
Amy Hosp. And there's another lady who was on the low carb cruise last year, and I forget, Maria Emmerich interviewed her. Somebody interviewed her on a cruise, and I saw an interview with her, and she had EDS. So how did you get the diagnosis? What did they test you for to get that diagnosis, other than the CAC
Well, they
score?
sent me over to the Children's Hospital for genetic testing.
So you actually got the genetic confirmation that this is what it is.
Well, I'm not 100% sure that they were convinced that it really showed what they expected it to show. And they also asked me, because of the hypermobility, being diagnosed with, clinical diagnosis, since they can't identify. Like I am not convinced that there really is a genetic mutation in all cases. But they asked me, was I as flexible as I am? Did I think it was natural or training? And I told them I felt like it was training. But how am I really supposed to know? I have been working on flexibility since I was 12.
Right.
So how am I really supposed to know if it's just natural, or if it's because of training years on stretching and whatnot? Because I can still have my legs straight and touch my knuckles to the floor, no problem. One of my daughters, and she gets dislocated shoulder. Her shoulder just come out of the joint doing nothing. And I always thought she might have it, but she can't even. She bends over, her fingertips are foot from her toes, because she can't even bend down, touch her toes.
Yeah. And they say it's genetic. So have
Right.
they talked about passing this on to family members? Have they said that?
They have not.
Interesting. So Juju Jemmett says, Angela, I like to look up my own symptoms, and also at Cleveland Clinic and Mayo, my go-to also, because those are two of the websites you posted. And Karen at Low Carb Spin says, what would one do to relieve joint pain? Diet, lifestyle, and or supplemental. What helps you? Do you suffer from a lot of joint pain from this?
I have had joint pain long as I can remember, because I was diagnosed with arthritis when I was 23.
And what helps you?
But what helps me more is sticking to my carnivore diets, low carb, sticking as low carb as possible to keep down the inflammation. That's my biggest recommendation is, even if you're not carnivore, if you're keto or, paleo, whatever, just, keep your carbs as low as possible and to keep your inflammation down.
Yes, for sure. And I think that is the case no matter what diagnosis.
Yes, no matter what
you have.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No matter if you got joint pain, if you got muscle pains, if you got any aches. I have compressed disc in my neck, so I'm not sure if that's ever gonna be something that I don't have to deal with. But keep it as low carb to keep the inflammation down as much as possible. And
just for everybody too, this is not medical advice,
no, it's not
treatment, but Coach Angela is telling her story, and she is sharing what is working for her to manage her symptoms.
Exactly.
So we are not doctors or medical professionals. We are just people who are telling our stories and what we have found that has helped for us, just to throw that out there.
Exactly.
Let's see if there's any other good questions here. Wendy says Eddie Goki has mentioned he has EDS too, so I find that interesting. We have Jiffy has joined us. Booby Goats, Aaron has joined us. Bill Cook is here. I think I saw Rick Quack Quack in the house. Thank
Yep,
you,
he's
Charger
here.
Mopar, for tuning in. Let me see. Bacon Runner Donna Ray is here. Welcome, Donna Ray. Let me see if I've missed anybody. Oh, okay. So Bill Cook has a question. He says, "Are you taking any vitamin C?"
Not currently, no. I have in the past, but unless I've got a cold that my grandchildren love to give me, then I'll take some. But not on a regular basis. Not, I don't.
So aside from the obvious, the the vascular issues that you've had and the joint pain, is there any other symptoms that you can attribute to, or that you think you have because of this diagnosis?
No. I think about when I talked to Dr. Ovadia, first thing he said was, control your blood pressure. I've never had high blood pressure a day in my life. I actually was in the hospital one time and the nurse took my blood pressure and she looked at me and said, "Are you alive?" My blood pressure was 100/60. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm tired, but yeah, I'm alive."
For sure, yes. So
And
Wendy, go ahead, sorry.
talking about advocating for yourself, and talking about doing your own research, I found a research paper at the University of Michigan that said if you have an aneurysm and you have connective tissue disease, which I do, you need to fix the aneurysm earlier than the recommended 55 millimeter size. So I brought it to my vascular doctor and my cardiologist to say, look, this research is out here. It says if you have connective tissue disease, to fix it earlier than later. And my vascular doctor did tell me that if he felt like he needed to push the cardiologist to fix it, he would. So that made me feel a little bit better that they weren't just ignoring me after I presented this information from the University of Michigan.
That's good. That's real good. So you guys, you're monitoring it right now, and your next course of action is if it starts to grow, then
Right.
you're going to have, but so far it's stable, right? So far you're
So
reporting this is
far the last 3 or 4 years it's been stable. So and they've stopped doing MRIs every year. We went to doing echocardiograms instead because it's a little bit cheaper, not much cheaper out of my pocket, but it's a little bit cheaper. And we have spaced it out from every year to every 18 months. He actually wanted to spread it out to every 2 years. I really didn't feel comfortable with that. I said, we've been checking it every year. Yes, it hadn't grown in the last few years, but I just didn't feel comfortable with right away jumping to every 2 years. So I said, how about every 18 months? And he said, fine. And then they're going to scan the one in my head again. I think it's in September.
Gotcha. This September?
Yes.
So we have a few questions. Wendy asks, between your dad and you both having aneurysms, was it your dad or your grandfather?
My grandfather.
Between your dad and your grandfather both having aneurysms, do you think your family might be choosing willful ignorance over having to wrap their brains around potential medical needs? And so what are your thoughts on that? Do you have thoughts on that? That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know if they think it was just a coincidence that he had it. But once they found my aortic aneurysm. I'm like, my grandfather died of an aneurysm. And then when they were saying it could be EDS, which most of them they're saying is genetic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, my grandfather died from a brain aneurysm, so y'all need to check. So I mean,
Right. Well, and think about it. How long ago did your grandfather die?
Thankfully, the what?
I was just asking, how long ago did your grandfather die? They might have not have been able to diagnose EDS at that time. They didn't have probably the testing
Right,
or the
right.
knowledge to do that.
Right. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm sure he had no clue that it was even there. Because when my grandfather died, I was 10 years old. He was packed and ready to leave to come visit us. The picture in my mind is his luggage is at the front door and he just hits the floor. And he was gone. He was 49 years old. I was devastated. I mean, my little sister, my mom was on the phone, so I'm assuming she's talking to her stepmom about what time Grandpa's plane would be there for us to go pick him up. And my little sister, not understanding what death was, runs up to me and says, "Grandpa, the airplane died!" And I'm like, it was just, I mean, she thought it was something exciting. Yeah, I was devastated.
We got some more questions if you don't mind. Bill Cook says, do you feel carnivore is helping EDS? You sort of answered this, but if so, do you think the lion diet could help even more? Do you think going stricter could help? Have you tried that?
I did Lion in January, and it was fabulous for me. I'm in a little bit of a dilemma right at the moment because I own a share of a dairy herd. So I really don't want to give up my cow. So it's either continue with milk that I get from the cow, from the dairy herd, and I do mostly eat beef anyway. So do I want to give up my cow and go back to lion, or give my, a lot of times I ask my grandchildren to come over and they'll drink the milk, and the milk that I usually consume, I have turned it into yogurt. So, but I'm not sure as far as the aneurysms or anything like that, it would make a difference. My weight, yes, it would make a difference. But as far as the aneurysms, I'm not sure it would make a difference one way or the other.
For sure. Holly Springer says, QQQ, I took dance as a kid. They called some of the kids double jointed. Remember that when we were growing up? They said, so-and-so is double jointed.
My sister, my sister talking about natural flexibility. My sister could do stuff that I'd look at her and it make me hurt looking at her. I mean, just the way she'd sit, with her knees bent and sitting on the floor between her feet, I mean, I was like, I was never able to do that. So, but I mean, we don't have any idea that my sister has it. So I can't say.
Do you think, or do you know that these double joint, with these young kids, do you think that's a symptom or sign that there could be underlying EDS?
I would not want to speculate. I
Speculate.
think a lot of times just kids are flexible. I mean, I was talking the other day when I fell. I said, kids fall, they bounce. I don't bounce anymore.
Right. And Jiffy says, I very rarely say this. My great grandmother and grandfather both, my great grandmother and grandmother both died of an aortic aneurysm, and my mama dies of pulmonary embolism. When I asked to be checked, my doctor says it's rare in females. And Jiffy says BS. Okay, I know what I would do. Again, not medical advice, but I'm already doing it with my doctor because I'm tired of the cholesterol fight, but I'm firing them. So I can't tell you what to do there, Jiffy, but if it were me, I would seek a second opinion, right? Of another doctor and keep finding a doctor until they listen to you. And obviously, Angela's had to go to bat for herself and say, look, this needs to be checked. We need to recheck this. And, she found her own studies from the University of Michigan, and she's using that as information and ammunition to keep on top of her own health. And that's what I believe that's what we all have to do. We got a few more people who have joined us, so I'm going to acknowledge them. We've got Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle, Cass. Hi, Cass. John is here. Welcome, John, Together Strong. Papa Carnivore, Peter is here, Pretzel Pete. Dustin from Keto Simples in the house. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We are talking about EDS. And if you haven't seen the beginning, Coach Angela Mullins, she's been diagnosed with one form of EDS, one of the more severe forms of EDS, and she has given a wonderful presentation, and she's also talking about her own experience with this. So she's a wonderful resource in the community, and we're blessed to have her. Let me see. I've got some other things. So, the treatment. What have your doctors told you on how to deal with your symptoms of this disease, Coach?
Nothing. Not a thing. Of course, there's standard vascular and cardiac.
I think she's frozen. Are we all frozen? Can you guys still hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we're back. Okay, so continue on. Oh.
Whoa.
Okay, we're back.
That was interesting. So they're just standard vascular and cardiac surgeons, and there's no recommendation, nothing, just we'll monitor. When we have to do something about it, we'll do surgery, and good luck.
Well, and the treatment they're probably just treating like whatever the standard, depending on what type you have. So yours is vascular. So it would be treated with just monitoring and surgery. If you have the hypermobility type, I'm sure it would be like physical therapy,
Right.
acetam pain drugs, different type of pain drugs. It sounds like for that type, the hypermobility type, there would be like they could use braces and support structures. Obviously, you've already figured this out for yourself, lifestyle adjustments, and in your own case, diet.
The thing is, some of those types you just read the descriptions and they're scary.
Yeah.
They got one that affects your gums, one that affects your eyes, the corneas in your eyes. Horrible.
They all sound terrible. Like they all sound awful. And I hate to even suggest this, but one of the things that I found is the average age that people live to when they have one of these is like 49. I think it was 48, and that's exactly the age that your grandfather lived to. Now,
Yeah.
are you 49, Angela? How old are you? Do you mind sharing?
No, I'm 60.
So you've already beat the odds here,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yes.
incredible. I mean, and right now you're stable. So
Right. I told my cousins years ago, we were at a picnic, and I said, you know, it's real scary when you're getting close to the age your grandfather was when he died. I mean, you know, it just went through my mind. Hey, we're in our 40s, and you know, and our grandfather died at 49. It's just a scary. It was just a scary thought. And now I'm 60, so
yes, and Jonathan says trying to live with it as best as you can. Me, try to
exactly.
live with suicide disease as best as you can, right? Well, and I don't mean to
Mhm.
bring this in, but I had trigeminal neuralgia. And no offense, but the doctors in this area, it was junk, right? They were like, well, based on, we manage it with medications and blah, blah, blah. And the medications weren't working for me. And it's like, I learned how to fire doctors in my late 20s, early 30s, because I'm like, this is BS. I knew something was wrong with the standard of care back then, right? 20 years ago, when I had, like Jonathan said, trigeminal neuralgia is called suicide disease because it's so painful, people commit suicide. So I get it, Jonathan. And so let me ask you this, Angela, with your condition. Do you go to any big cities? Like, your specialists, are they just local to you, or have you had to seek
They're
care?
they're at the University of Virginia.
Okay. So they're at a teaching hospital, which is a
Right.
university. I tend to think that places like that, in my opinion, again, not medical advice, I have on several occasions left the state of Indiana to get specialists. I've had surgery in Chicago, I've had brain surgery in Detroit, and something that I would advocate for people, if something doesn't sit right in your gut that your doctor tells you, chances are they don't have the answer, and they're just trying to do the best that they can to give you information and not, they're supposed to have the information, but as Dr. Barry says, doctors are just dudes and chicks, and they don't always have the answer. And I think I saw Thomas post something about get a second opinion, and don't be afraid to find specialists that specialize in the thing. Whether you got to drive to Mayo Clinic, whether you got to go to Cleveland Clinic, whether you got to find a university hospital, a research hospital, you know, any thoughts on that, Coach Angela, about stepping outside of your?
When I first found it, I have a friend that lives a few blocks over from me, and her brother is actually a cardiac surgeon at Mayo Clinic. She's like, I'm gonna take you up there and get him to fix it right now. I was like, no, not right. So, if it was to get to the point where I was worried it was gonna bust, I'd probably do something like that. But
Yeah.
not right. But right now, since it's staying stable, I'm not gonna panic yet.
Well, and do you know what the risks of the surgery? Has anybody communicated the risks of the surgery to you? What is that information?
Well, it would probably be the same as open heart surgery. The thing is, what they would have to do is, if it was a descending aortic aneurysm, they can go up in the vein, like through your leg and fix it from the inside. But the ascending aorta, they can't do that. They got to do it the old-fashioned way: break open your breastbone, spread it open, get in there, cut out section of the aorta, and replace it. So I've met one person who has had the surgery. He's doing really well. I mean, I just know it's a long recovery process. My first husband had open heart surgery, had a quadruple bypass. And I remember the agony he went through on that recovery. Wouldn't be something to look forward to.
Yeah. And Gary says, sorry to hear about your husband's passing. What was
Thank you.
his cause of, if you're comfortable sharing what his cause of death and age? I think I know, but I'll let you tell it.
My husband had cancer. The cancer did not kill him. The cancer treatment killed him. And, you know, when you look back, if you knew, you know, then what you know now, and you could have done things differently, but basically the cancer treatment is what killed him.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
So anyway, but like I said, we were married 2 years and 2 months. Well, 2 years and a month and a half when he died. I felt like I had finally found the right person. He was my best friend.
I'm sorry.
And he was my best friend for 5 years before we got married. And then we got married, and 2 years and a month and a half later, it was gone. The first hardest thing ever happened in my life was when my grandfather died. The second one was when my husband died.
I'm so sorry for that.
Okay.
Very sad. Very sad.
My mama buried my daddy right beside my husband.
Aw. So your husband died before your dad?
Yeah, my husband died in 2018. My dad just died in March.
Oh, that's right. This year I remember.
Yeah, Dot, the Kilts sent me a Kilts cup with a card. I thought that was the best thing he could have done.
Dr. Kiltz is one of the sweetest
Yes, he
human
is.
beings I know. And so this brings up a good point. This is a good segue. So, Angela, let's talk about your degrees or your not degrees, but certifications. Talk about your certifications.
Ollie sent me another one. I get to put down.
Is it the same one?
No, this is the 30-day carnivore course.
Oh, so I need to take that then, so I can get another.
I didn't even know they gave certificates for that. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, I got to take that.
If you finish that, I'll send you a certificate. And I'm like, Ollie, I finished that before we even started the Kilts course. And for some reason, it was showing up twice on my Mighty Network instead of just once. I didn't understand that. I think because they added it to our profile when we took the Kilts course. So we'd also have this, but I had already paid for this previous. So anyway, but she sent it to me, so I just put it in the frame to match the rest of them.
I'm going to take that and the fertility course. But so you have 2 Kilts Health certifications. You've got the 30-day carnivore, and then you have the Kilts Certified Health Coach. And then the other 2, talk about those.
Then we got our PHD coach certificate. And I finally sent my profile information to Alyssa today. I just didn't have a picture, and I finally got one to send her. And then from Primal Health, it's symptomatology specialist.
So
that's what that SDM was supposed to be SYM, which stands for that. But anyway, I got it typed wrong.
What does that mean?
That means I have this questionnaire where you can fill out and put in all your symptoms, and it will send me a report and tell me what you should do, what type of diet, or if you need to work on your sleep or whatever it would take to help you work through whatever physical problems you're having. It would give me recommendations to come back and help you with that situation.
That's awesome. I'm interested in taking that too, but there's some cost involved in that, and I'm not
Yes, it
ready
is.
to fork out more costs.
It costs more than that, but not as much as that did, right?
That's awesome. Okay, so I want to say hi to a few people, and I got to follow up on that. Mannix Gaming's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Uncle Charlie is here. And Lynn22QCat. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for tuning in. And okay, so you have a discount code for the
Yes,
well,
Alden gave me a discount code for the Gilt's Health course.
we both
So
actually have one, but
me.
I'm going to promote Angela here since this is her story. So, how can someone reach out to you, Angela, to get that discount code if they wanted to take the?
The easiest way is to go to my website, CoachAngelaMullins.com. If you go to either my weight loss story or the mission, and then you'll see at the top right of the page, you can send me there's a link so you can send me an email. That's
Wait
the
a
easiest
second.
way.
I must not be finding the right thing because is it Coach Angela Mullins?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up so everybody can see your website. Let me share this real quick. And she's got a lot of cool things. Screen. Okay, so this is Coach
Yeah, we can talk
Angela's.
about the other things too. But right now, click on my weight loss story. Second one down.
Wow.
And then go up to the top where it says contact.
Yes, right here.
Yep. And then right there, they can send me an email.
Phone number, email address. So shoot her an email if you would like to get a discount code for the kilts. And she's got a lot of cool stuff here. Oh. There's programs, coaching, educational, Coach Angela, my weight loss story. The first screen, like I like that you sell women's defense.
Yeah,
stuff.
click on Coach Angela right there, and you'll go back to the linked page. Yeah. If anybody wants to see my pictures, you can share my pictures. It doesn't matter. But
is this the thing that Bart K pioneers in stem cell?
Yep.
Is that the thing that's Cerule?
Yep.
Yep, I remember you saying so she is a Cerule, what do you call it? Killer, I don't know what you call that. I like this.
I think they call it business owners. Yep, the damsel in defense.
I like I got a shop on that. I really like that because I'm security minded. So, and I also like they have my favorite color, pink. So everybody go check out CoachAngelaMullins.com. I'm going to post this in the
and then I got essential oils too. So
doTERRA. Yep, I've used some of those. So here is her website. Let me see if there's more questions. Okay, we took care of that one.
Look what Erin said. That was funny. She said, I don't need a fertility coach.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't, for sure. If anything, you might need the opposite. Just kidding. Oh my goodness. Let me see if there's any other questions. So, did you hear?
Oh, Jiffy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, she talks about her story all the time. Okay, why? Oh, here it is. Okay, now we're back. Yeah, Juju also lost her husband. Did you hear? So Wendy brings up something here about PCOS. Did you hear that they renamed PCOS to like PC?
Yes.
It's like now metabolic.
Yeah. I believe Dr. Berry told us that. I just don't remember what they calling it now.
Yeah. recommending Dr. Kiltso. Kiltso. Yeah, so they renamed PC, which is, I think, appropriate because a lot of women who have PCOS don't have cysts. It's a metabolic disease. And just people, people telling you how sorry they are about your husband. Jiffy says, we were high school sweethearts. He was 5 years older than me, so he joined the army and waited 6 months. Oh, well, I turned 18. He asked, and I said yes. 6 months later, he died. So sorry, Jiffy. So sorry to hear that. And Barbara is here and she's eating. And for those of you who don't know, I think by now everybody knows that Barbara comes on at 9 p.m. every night. She's almost going on 365 days straight of going live. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't do it. I've been going live twice a week, and that's almost too much. So I've pinned Coach Angela's channel so everybody, if you haven't subbed to Coach Angela's, please go do that because we're trying to boost up her channel. Coach Angela is I want to say probably all spectrum PhD coach. Wouldn't you say, Coach Angela? Do you have a specialization a niche?
I just figured I would attract, older women with autoimmune problems more than any other. But I'm trying to stay as broad as I can. Try not to. But
Me too. And you're now accepting clients, right? You're now accepting health coaching clients.
Yes. I'm reaching out, trying to advertise. Say, hey, folks, I'm advertising locally as much as I can. I've got my website on my car. I've got a hat with my logo. I've got I even put my website on my motorcycles, so they'll be on the back side of my motorcycles when I'm riding down the road. So
yes. So Coach Angela, if you know anybody who you would think be a good fit for Coach Angela, please send them her way. Let me see if there's other questions. And trust me, there are plenty of people who need help for all of us coaches. There really
Thank
are.
You, Kelly.
Did I miss a chat?
Kelly said he subbed my channel, so I said thank you, Kelly.
Oh, Kelly subbed. Here's a new one. OE Mix. I don't know how to say this. Edward Goki, he's got EDS and is carnivore. I've never seen you on our channel, so welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, and Peter also says Kiltz is an amazing man. I agree. Okay, so does anyone know how Dr. Nelson is doing? I heard that he's doing well. For those of you who didn't know, he had a medical issue. I really don't want to talk about it too much because it's not my story to tell.
So first thing I asked Ollie when I got on Friday morning before the live was Ollie said he had a little setback on Thursday, but he was doing good on Friday. So
good, yes. I heard he's doing well too. He's just recovering, so I'm sure he will come on at some point and tell his own story. I don't want to speak for someone else. Thank you, John Together Strong. I have a dancing bacon. John Together Strong just gave a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and that helps keep this channel going. So thank you for that. You're very generous. Really appreciate you. Oh, that's his little jumping bacon. I did that. I customized the little dancing bacon. Okay, put your questions in the chat for Coach Angela, everybody.
I understand that, Peter. I mean, when you say no more pretzels, yeah, those things are gonna mess you up.
Yeah. Well, someone said, and Peter, maybe you can answer this. Of all the things that you could have chosen to cheat with, why pretzels? Why were the pretzels so appealing? Why were the pretzels so appealing? Like, I would probably choose, I don't know. I mean, we don't cheat. We really don't cheat. So, what would be the one thing, Angela, that if you had a free pass for a one-time thing, what would you do?
If I didn't have celiac, it'd be a donut.
So, yeah, that's probably a good one. I don't know, like here's the thing, the two things, well, the three things that I really like. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see, Pa Beater, 1941, tip $5. Thank you so much, Pa. This is first time catching your channel. Interesting conversation. Well, thank you. Okay, Pa, do me another favor, please. If you wouldn't mind going over and subscribing to Coach Angela's channel. If you're not already subscribed, I pinned it to the top. So if you're not subscribed to Coach Angela, she has told her story and she has given an expert like presentation on EDS. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is so generous and it helps me keep this channel going. As we all know, it's not free to do coaching. It's not free to do social media, but we all try to help as many people for free as we can. And so the Buy Me a Coffee is the super chats. They help pay all of the reoccurring fees. So thank you so much for that.
You know that video that Alia did for Friday morning. I was like, Alia, you put my whole life story in there.
Did she give you a copy of that?
Not yet, but I told her the only correction was she had said she had 2006 when it should have been 2016. Everything else was spot on. I said she must have gotten that information from Dr. Nelson before he got sick, but it was just like, wow.
I thought maybe you gave it to her and she created that.
Nope.
And so it's important that we tell our stories.
And I told her, I said, you know, it made me cry because she brought up my grandfather dying. She, you know, it just, I mean, just.
Have you been interviewed on?
Summed up my whole life.
Have you been interviewed on Kelta's channel before?
Yes.
And did you tell that story? I'm wondering if they went back to your old video and got
some, but I doubt if I brought up the 4-year-old. I might have when I was 4 and I was underweight, and then by the time I was 6, I was put on my first diet. I might have said that. I just don't remember. But you know, when I did the coaching course with Kilts, Dr. Nelson, at least with the first cohort, gave us a free consultation. So, you know, so I know Dr. Nelson knows a lot of my story.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. So how long have you been carnivore again, Angela? 2018?
There was 3 years. No, March 2024. Okay. So it was two years this past March. Yeah.
Okay. I plan on maybe reaching back out. So my 1 year is coming up in July. So I probably should get the calendar and get that scheduled to go on again to talk about what I've experienced in 1 year. And who did you interview with today?
Dave Mack. Again.
So, and again, so everybody, if you haven't tuned into Dave Mack's channel, Coach Angela just interviewed with him today, and she'll be on, and he is like the OG of interviewers, right?
Yep.
He's done what, like close to, is it 2,000?
Over 17,000, I know. I don't remember the exact number right now.
1,700, I think. Yeah, it's getting close to 2,000 interviews now. Mm-hmm. So, and he is just a nice guy. He just really is.
Yeah, he is.
Very easy to interview with. Let's see. Any other questions for Coach Angela? Let me see if I'm missing anything here. Oh, okay. So yeah, it was my stuff was behind a little bit. Okay, let me see if there's questions here. Yep, subscribe to Coach Angela's channel on Friday after Dr. Kilt's live. Oh, okay, so Brian did. Hi, Brian. Brian's here. Lisa's Blessed Life was here. And oh my gosh.
Wow, look what Sean did.
Sean, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You're so sweet. Sean Bradley just sent $10. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And you get a dancing bacon just for that. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is so sweet. Yes, and Peter's from Philly. Philly is home of the soft pretzel, so maybe that's why, it was a pretzel. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with these chats. Thank you again, Sean. That was so sweet. Excellent interview and guest, Amy Angela. I will advertise for you. If you have any stickers, shirts, or anything like that, I'm working on merch. It just hasn't been a priority for me because from what I've heard from other creators, they don't tend to sell well. But we've got some big events coming up, and Angela has already been to Meat Stock.
Yeah, that was.
So tell us about that.
I didn't know that Bella and Raymond were going to be there, and I ran into Bella, and of course I had Ted, and Bella also has a Bichon, so she's like, oh, and so we played with Ted and we talked, and then later I saw Bella and I looked over and I'm like, Raymond. So Raymond and I talked for a long time. Because Raymond's into the fasting and what they call it, priming, and he and I talked for a long time because of the bad experience I had with fasting. I also talked to Laura about my bad experience with fasting, and she said I experienced the dump. I lost 9 pounds in 5 days.
With fasting,
and I was hurting so bad I had to cut my fast short. I was planning on going 5 days, and I ended up cutting it short at 4 days because I was hurting so bad. And Laura said I experienced what they call a dump, and she said probably was a good thing I cut it short, but. Raymond and I talked and got some strategy on what to try next time when I try to do another fast. I had never had an experience like that fasting, because I fasted up to 5 days before without any problems at all. But it's like the second day, my legs were achy. And by the third day, it had went up to my mid back, and then it was like a little bit further. By the next day, I'm like, I can't. I gotta eat, so I ate and it stopped. But I dropped 9 pounds in 5 days. I was like, that was wow. Of course, I didn't keep it off, but it was like that was wild.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Although I don't really do extended fasts. I've done 48 hours. I will say I feel amazing when I fast. I think even with some of the meat. Honestly, I think with me, I'm probably allergic to eggs. And but I just love eggs so much. And guess what? I'm eating more eggs now because I'm not eating vegetables anymore, right? So I do have periods where I get more joint pain, and it could be from the eggs. What I really need to do is do like a 14. Yep, I really probably need to do a 14-day egg elimination, at least 2 weeks, and see how I feel. The problem is I'm scared to know, because I don't want to be separating eggs all the time, and I would be devastated if it were egg whites. I really would. And Karen at Low Carb Spin, they must have been having a conversation, but she says, I'm pretty sure I'm getting enough fat. I'm stuck in a hormonal state, high cortisol, and I'm a lean mass hyper-responder. Me too. My cortisol has been really high this last week with traveling to and from Vegas, a plane that had a part falling off of it, and they patched it and flew us out there anyway. Then a loved one having major heart surgery on Friday, and my joints hurt so bad right now, but I know I just need to take a deep breath, do some meditation, drink some fluids, drink some water, and just relax. And in a few days, it will be gone. I think that I'm really finding out that a lot of my joint pain and stuff is correlated with cortisol. And the more stress and stuff, have you ever had any like stressful correlations to joint pain and anything like that you can speak of, Angela?
I'm not really sure I can coordinate it with joint pain, but I have a very stressful job. And so I've been, then you have situations with family that cause stress. And so, you try to not worry about it, try not to worry about work when you're not at work, and, try to just chill out. And then somebody calls or texts or, mom, like, oh. So I mean, you just have to do the best you can do, but and it's always going to be some type of stress in your life. And I try not to, that I guess maybe nervous or maybe worry too much, but it's always going to be something that's going to cause stress. It's like they resurrected Friday before last. They resurrected a project at work, and then they're like, "How fast can you get it done?" I mean, y'all said y'all were going to drop this project, and all of a sudden, it's back in my lap. Of course, I got it done in 4 days, but I wasn't. You can't guarantee that it's always going to go that smoothly. Right. It was really funny because my database administrator, we were working on a problem late Thursday afternoon, and as soon as we got it fixed, I turned around to my other computer and I saw this email asking for a status. And I said, well, we're done. And then she saw the email and she came over the Jabber and typed me a message, says, I'm glad we got that fixed before you had to give us status. I said, yeah, that was close, wasn't it?
So anyway. You can't say what you do, but you're in IT. You're in. You can say. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not supposed to say where I work. I can say what I do. I'm a computer programmer, but I'm not supposed to say where I work.
Can you say what language you program in? Can you say that?
I program in a software package called PI, which is more like you're mapping objects. It's visual. And then I program in SAP.
Okay. Wow. That's a good job. 20 years ago, my first job you're going to laugh because this language is older than me, right? So I was a COBOL programmer when my first job.
Oh, I've done that too.
COBOL and JCL, yeah. And then the programming jobs kind of dried up in this area. So I kind of morphed into proprietary.
I tell kids this day, don't go into programming unless you want to move to India.
Yeah.
If you want to live in the United States and be in IT, study security.
Yeah. Yes. And So I do right now, my current job is a technical trainer and I onboard customers onto software. I teach them. I also can get into the SQL databases and do stuff. And, it's like a bunch of like hodgepodge stuff, but I walk customers through our software from beginning to end and I tweak the software. I set it up, configure their databases, and I love it. I love it. Honestly, I don't know. I know the programming jobs can pay more, but I like to work with customers every day and I like to help them troubleshoot and build relationships. And when I was programming, it was mostly heads down in a corner somewhere. And you guys know my personality, right? I am kind of like a face of the company type of person. I'm a social media type person. So it's really is a good fit for me. I do like the technical thing. You can see I program all these little they're laughing because there's poop emojis floating on the screen. So I programmed all this stuff to float across the screen. So I still get to do some whiz bangy things, in my social media. So there's other ways that you can fulfill the technology stuff, right?
Yep.
But let's see. Any other questions, guys? I'm gonna kind of look through the comments here. Do you see anything that's sticking out? Talking about cooking and butter.
Yeah, I
And
cook
Peter
with a
says
lot of butter.
he's a carnivore outlaw. What's your favorite meal, Coach Angela?
This past week, I went over to Fresh Market. So let me see. It was last Sunday. Yeah, it was Mother's Day. I went by Fresh Market and I bought 2 steaks and I got them to give me some fat trimmings. They gave me 8 pounds
Wow.
of fat
For
trimmings.
free? Or did you have to
Yes,
pay
they
for
give
them?
them away for free. Fresh Market gives them away for free. And so they gave me 8 pounds of fat trimmings. And I brought those things home, and I believe it was Tuesday night. I fried the entire 8 pounds and cut them up in little bite sizes. And I had those to snack on all week. I enjoyed that. And
Do
plus,
you
it was
like air
free.
fry them? Do you air fry them?
I put them in my wok and I cut them
Crisp
up
them
and
up?
throw them in there and fry them up in there, and they end up frying in their own grease. Yeah, and then of course I filter the grease and I have my tallow for whenever I need it.
Yeah, that I haven't tried that yet. I need to try that. The other thing I want to do is I want to make my own tallow cream because my husband tends to be very allergic to things on his skin and very sensitive, and I want to make unscented tallow
I
cream for
do
him.
do that too. I mix tallow and olive oil for my skincare. And I buy Villicapelli because I know it's 100% olive oil, not mixed with any seed oils.
Yep.
So that's what I do. I take a little bit of the Villicapelli olive oil and I mix it in with my tallow, and that's my skincare. But I can't take it with me when I go to the UK. They won't allow it. I gotta figure out all kinds of what I'm gonna do different when I'm over there because I can't take any of my skincare, anything, my deodorant, everything I use is tallow based, and so I got to figure out alternatives to take with me when I go.
Oh, can't you put it in a little bottle as long as it's smaller than 3 ounces? Or a little
I
jar?
don't know if they'll ask, well, what is this or not, but because it says you can't have any tallow products.
Oh. Are they gonna know? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you can sneak something in a little something, but
just
I
say
don't
it's,
know.
they're not gonna know. So for crying out loud, I have a funny story because I just flew to Vegas for my nephew's wedding.
Right.
And with all the cortisol, this is my story, and I'm sticking with it. When I filled out, so I got my flights, my brother's flights, and my husband's flights. When I entered in my husband's date of birth into the system, I put my date of birth for him. And flying out of South Bend, they didn't say a word. You think they would catch that right away. Now at the Vegas airport trying to get home, they're like, ma'am, there's a problem with or they're like, sir, there's a problem with your ticket. You're gonna have to go back to the counter. And when we both gave our IDs, the lady's like, ma'am, you put your date of birth for your husband. I was like, what? So I mean, like, but on the way out of South Bend, they didn't even do anything. So chances are they're going to see cream. It's cream, right? Is it cream?
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to see cream in the bottle, but do you think they're going to have any way to know that it's tallow? They're not going to know.
No.
Just put it in one of those little plastic bottles or something that you can squirt out of that looks like any other lotion, or even
Right.
a jar that's 3 ounces or less, if you're putting it in jar. Oh, I get triggered. Can't have tallow products, right?
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
It's like that they said you can take when I leave here, if I want to take some beef sticks with me, I can take them with me, but I have to eat them before I got off the plane in London.
Wow. Well, I mean, so yeah. It might be worth it to take some beef sticks because that's a long flight and you may need something to snack on. I needed something to snack on a 4-hour flight to Vegas, right? So I took beef sticks to that. Just looking through the chat. They're talking about Dr. Nelson. Yes, low carb spin is Karen. And it sounds like Papa says he's in a
Dr. Nelson may be back before the end of this week, but he'll definitely be back the following week. It's what I understood from Alia.
Well, and I missed all the lives this week because there was no Tuesday live, there was no Wednesday class, and there was no Thursday live. So it was sad on those days.
Last one we had was on Monday, and then we did have the Lion call Tuesday night with Amy, but yeah, all the other calls were canceled last week.
I have joined a few of those Lion calls. I'm not lying. But interesting.
Dr. Nelson had emergency surgery last week, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He'll be back and he'll tell you his story when he comes back, I'm sure. He's usually pretty out and upfront with his health story, so I'm sure he'll fill us in when he gets back. And he is okay. He's just taking it easy. And Carrie says she is a tiger, not a lion. That's funny, Carrie. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, Angela, it's been almost an hour and a half. We're going to keep doing this. And as soon as you get if you ever do interviews on your channel, let me, I would be more than happy to come on your channel. Okay, so I do have an announcement for this week. I am going to a concert Thursday night with my girlfriend. So I am taking my lunch hour at 4 p.m. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to be doing a live on Thursday, but I'm going to be doing a premiere. And what a premiere is a pre-recorded video where everybody can still come in and chat with each other, kind of like you're doing now. But I can't actually take a lunch during the day to do a live stream because I'm leaving early from work to go to a concert. So my premiere will be at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, just the normal time like it always is. And then I think next Sunday, I have an engagement in the afternoon, so I can't really do a cooking live stream. So I think I'm going to open it up to an open panel. So if anyone wants to hop on here with me next Sunday at 7 p.m. and just have an open panel, I think that's what we're going to do. And I know I got to promote Jerry. Jerry is having it is Pentecost, and so she's going to have a Pentecost panel to talk about, you know, religion and some other things. So she's going on, I think, at noon Central, which is 1 p.m. Eastern on this coming a week from today. So stay tuned for her. I got to shout her out. And let's see, anything I'm missing? We've put your channel in the comments. We've showed your website. Anything on your front that you want to promote, Coach Angela, while we're...
That's all I got going on right now. So
Awesome. Well, let's do this again. This is our third time doing a collaboration.
yeah,
It's
well,
always fun.
think of another subject we can do some educational information on.
For sure. For sure. And I would like to, I have a presentation that I did in the kilts for, it was for fatty liver disease. I really need to record that and get that up on my channel as well. So I'm probably going to do that. But I think covering these health topics is important. And for anyone who didn't see the beginning part of this presentation, Angela gave a very, very well documented, well educational presentation on EDS. So, oh my gosh, they're going nuts in the, it's like my floating emojis. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Coach Angela, for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. And you guys know, thank you for everybody who donated tonight. I really appreciate that. And thank you for all the channel members. I appreciate you all. It's not required, right? It's not required to do that, but it does help. I appreciate each and every one of you. So we're going to say goodbye to Angela. I'm going to hide you on the stream, and you all know what is next. We're going to play the rolling credit, and we're going to give kudos to everyone who attended tonight. So here we go. Have a great night, everybody. See you Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Lights fade low, the bacon's done. We rocked the stream and had some fun. Kate's a rock stars in the rockin' crew. Stay strong, we're gonna roll with you. Yeah, we're gonna keep rolling on. We're gonna keep rolling on. Yeah, we're gonna keep rolling on. Yeah, we're gonna keep rolling on. Rockin' till the credits roll.